Hey everyone, before we get started talking about the Common App, we wanted to let you know that you can calculate your chances of admission at a variety of different schools using our chancing engine. First, you'll start by completing your chancing profile with information that's reflected throughout the Common App, such as GPA, testing, and extracurricular activities. From there, you can use CollegeVine's Hub tool to see your chances and information about different schools, such as cost, majors, and more. Visit the link in the description below to sign up and see your chances today.
Next up, let's move over to the activities section. So with the activities section, right, what you're looking at there, just give me 1 second, sorry. This is where you're going to enter your resume, essentially. This is where you're going to enter your extracurricular activities, the things that you did outside of the classroom, right? And so you can enter your activities, select that here. And then basically, there's a few different elements that you're going to be using. So first up, you have your activity type. This is pretty much up to you. You kind of just decide which of these categories your activity falls into. You've got social justice, you've got science and math, school spirit, research, robotics, LGBT, journalism or publication, foreign exchange, environmental, etc. There's all kinds of activities here. Then obviously you have position or leadership description, right? So this is typically where you're going to enter things like VP, president 2X, but president-elect, whatever you want to enter, that's kind of what you'll do. Now, what I will say is that you want to enter where you're going to be by the end of your senior year with some of these activities. So if you have a position, but you haven't fulfilled your duties or something like that, that's where you'll want to kind of jump in that sense, right? So that's that. And then as far as the organization name, right? This is where you're going to enter the organization's name. Now, if the organization has a super recognizable name, you can just get away with writing, say, Model UN, for example, or Mock Trial. If, on the other hand, it's like a weird acronym, or it's like Shooting Stars Club, and in your school, that means that it's a club that helps you do career preparation, right? That's something where you'll have to where you'll basically have to add the context. And that's why you have 100 characters here, right? So if you have a Shooting Stars Club and it's an organization where you meet to do career prep work, say that in this portion right here. And then the last piece obviously is going to be your activity as far as the description, what you've done in the activity. And so the way that works is essentially that with the activity, right? You basically want to make sure you're entering in the things that you've done in the activity. And even if you have like a leadership position, right, you'll still want to mention things like I, won an award, or I, led this initiative, or I did X, Y, and Z. That's something that you'll want to kind of mention here because, right, it's very important that you also not only show, hey, I won a leadership position, I can win elections, but I actually did something with that leadership position. So you want to enter all that information in, and you only have 150 characters here. So you want to try and abbreviate as much as possible, right? So one easy abbreviation, for example, is if your club has your high school name in it, right? It's very easy to say. So say, for example, you go to McNeil High School, right? Abbreviating that as MHS is going to be pretty clear that, hey, you go to McNeil High School, so this is the MHS Drama Club or something like that, right? Even still, I would say also, if it's something like the drama club, you can even actually just pull out the name of your high school entirely. It's just not that relevant, all things considered, right? So there's that's kind of another thing to look at is you want to just sort of make sure that you're sort of that you're taking into account that element of it, and that you're sort of putting down all kinds of things that you did and participated in, right? That's very, very important in the context of the admissions process. So that's that. And then the next step here is your participation grade levels. This is pretty straightforward. This is something you can absolutely just use from normally. Timing of participation, again, pretty straightforward. Now, these are the two that are important: hours spent per week and weeks spent per year. For any individual activity, unless you're reporting something crazy, like I spent 80 hours per week on one activity, not going to raise any red flags. But when you kind of sum up all your hours, say, for example, when you add up all the hours per week, right, you're getting to 55 hours per week across all your ECs. That's kind of on the edge. And so it might feel a little bit unrealistic to colleges. So you want to watch and be careful, make sure you're trying to be as accurate as possible with your, time spent on the activity guidelines, right? So that's something that you want to just be sort of very careful about and very practical about, right? And then last thing is whether or not you plan on participating in a similar activity in college. That's, again, something that sort of is up to you. But what I would say is that, it doesn't really apply as much. Colleges don't care as much about that. They're much more focused on kind of what you did in high school and sort of how that impacts your circumstances, right? They care less about what you've done, sort of, whether or not you plan to participate in the activity in the future. Like, that's less important to them. They care a lot more about what you did in high school.